Jimmy and Rosalind Carter first volunteered for Habitat for Humanity in the 1980s.
And he helped swing hammers right alongside volunteers well into his 90s.
We always feel that Rose and I got more out of it than we put into it.
Very few presidents, if any, have done as much as President Carter did post-presidency for the world.
Thanks to videos from both Jackson Boulevard and Skyline Drive, authorities were able to pinpoint the time of the shootings, as well as a red SUV with all three individuals.
These types of activities are not tolerated.
Martins was arrested for having sexual contact with a 16-year-old in 2021.
His victim spoke at his sentencing hearing, saying Martins manipulated her and made her feel guilty when she wanted things to stop.
There was control and grooming involved.
5 engines from 3 KELOLAND fire departments and South Dakota Wildland Fire will be in California to fight the fires in Los Angeles.
Numerous hazards, power lines, houses going up, propane tanks, just the evacuation of that many people.
A gunshot at the Avantera nursing home.
An employee had shot a supervisor over a conflict.
The suspect tried to leave the facility right after the shooting, but she was caught.
Figuratively passed the torch to Roden.
So Larry, you are next up to bat. Although I'm saying farewell, South Dakota has always been my home, and it will always be my home.
It was Sunday night and bitterly cold. Authorities believe a woman died of exposure out here on Madison Street.
A body laying in the middle of the road.
At this time, authorities aren't saying Shield's death is suspicious, but it's still under investigation.
Leonard Peltier was denied parole as recently as July. In 1987, he maintained his innocence.
I'm not guilty of anything, so I'm going to continue fighting for my freedom.
Peltier was serving life in prison for the murders. Will transition to home confinement in North Dakota.
The nomination is confirmed.
The new Secretary of Homeland Security was making sure people around the world saw what was happening.
We are getting the dirtbags off these streets.
They arrested 20 people in 4 hours.
This is our nation's law enforcement judicial process. The scales of justice are equally applied to everybody. We want transparency on this.
So help me God.
Governor Larry Roden is officially sworn in.
I just look at it as a tremendous opportunity to represent the people in a state that I absolutely love.
I'm excited to help Governor Roden lead our state.
Lieutenant Governor Ben Heisen will also serve as the presiding officer of the South Dakota Senate.
Craig Lloyd of Lloyd Companies has made a huge impact in Sioux Falls.
To be a dreamer, you have to really go out on the limb, and you got to take that leap of faith.
Just terrified for the man inside that cab.
When the excavator tipped, it was pinned against an interior wall. The driver was able to get out, and he is unharmed.
That was the most important part.
Tyson Christian is charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing death of Emily Ehrenberg. He convinced her to drive to a nearby parking lot and get in the back seat with him, pulled out a pocket knife, and stabbed her repeatedly until she died. He had been planning on killing Ehrenberg for several days.
We had a cow that had quadruplets. Good job, Mama. A rare feat, 1 in 179.2 million.
I've yet to talk to anybody who's had 4 live calves all the same sex.
All bull calves.
This cow's done a heck of a job with them.
Authorities were still at the scene one day after gunfire repeatedly rang out and a fire broke out at the home.
This all went on over the course of several hours.
Basie supports relocating the mounts ranging in age from 50 to 80 years old.
It would have the continued lifespan as opposed to being where it is.
I can't believe it.
A lot less stressful going through it than I thought it was going to be. There's a good reason that Steve Hartman wants to tell you their story.
A new men's prison in Lincoln County.
We're entrusted with the safety of our staff. The site that we have at the moment does not make that feasible.
I don't agree with the funding mechanisms. I do know that this is necessary.
South Dakota wanted to build a men's prison. HB 1025 is in the recycle bin.
The latest cases involving 3 state employees.
We're wrapping them up, and we'll be making those announcements to the public in the near future.
The Sioux Falls City Council to gift the Brockhouse collection to 3 out-of-state nonprofits.
Nobody has a complete one like this.
Believe the collection should remain in Sioux Falls.
They could actually build something and make it a very lucrative endeavor.
The cow took advantage of its brief freedom.
Totally a Midwest thing to happen. This was one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed in my life.
This is what I was planning on doing maybe for the rest of my career.
However, that plan was met with uncertainty when she became one of the thousands of federal employees laid off from their jobs.
And it was just like a gut punch.
Sioux Falls Police and the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office were a part of the efforts to locate the child.
Situations like this obviously aren't very common.
Former Governor Kristi Noem's spending on out-of-state travel was frequent and often expensive.
There probably needs to be a better form of communication.
It's nice to know where the money's being spent.
President Donald Trump says he wants to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable for allowing illegal immigrants and fentanyl to come into the U.S.
We're concerned about the long-term impact of the tariffs and what they might have on our industry.
When it's St. Patrick's Day, you just roll with the punches. Or in this case, roll on a bus. Touchmark has been lining up these pub crawls every St. Patrick's Day for the past 8 years.
It's also a great reminder of the vibrant lifestyle we embrace here at Touchmark.
Construction crews began their first full day of work today. Businesses expect there to be an impact.
Businesses over here are still open, 10 more businesses too, so don't forget about us.
Got full access to us from 6 Mile Road.
He was thrilled when he found out he qualified for the Special Olympics World Winter Games.
It's like a dream come true.
Earned a silver medal in slalom.
The overall event and that win just represents so much more in his success as a human.
Crews from Sioux Valley Energy.
Knee-deep mud in the fields, the roads were all torn up.
Snow, ice, and strong winds, toppling power pole after power pole.
They're estimating around 700 poles that they had on the ground.
One guy chased me down and pulled me over just to say thanks.
There's others in need, just like we've been in need in the past, so we really want to help out where we can.